It is September and it is time to make an autumn knitting plans video. Hi, I'm Ashley and this is Chango. This is the corner of the internet where I talk about my knitting and spinning. So it's officially September, and although it's still pretty warm here in Colorado, I am itching to cast on some autumn knitting sweaters and garments. So a sweater that I hit snooze on towards the beginning of summer was my Zipper Sweater Light by Petite Knit. I am knitting this in John Arburn's yarn in their Apple Door line, which is a DK weight yarn. And it is this beautiful dark purple with hints of green throughout it. This is the colorway Foxwhelp, which is a type of apple that I've never tried, or at least I don't think I have. But this is a color that resembles that specific species of apple. So I'm still on the increases for the raglan, which quite honestly is a slog. And so I have made a goal for myself to knit at least 4 rows a day to hopefully get this done as soon as possible, or at least the increases part, because once I join in the round and can knit in the round, I think it's going to go by quicker. So I've kind of promised myself that I won't cast anything else on until I get done with the increases for this sweater. One of my all-time favorite sweaters that I've ever knitted is the Paul sweater by Marika Knit. I knitted that in a DK weight yarn from San Juan Woolworks. Yes, San Juan Woolworks, which is a beautiful, very minimally processed yarn. And I love that sweater so much. And I have been meaning to make another Paul sweater. And I think now is the time. So the Paul sweater is actually knit in a sport weight. So my Paul sweater is quite dense, but I love that. I don't mind it at all that it's dense. And so I do have some Garthenor Organics wool. This is the number 2, which is a sport weight yarn. It's 100% organic Manx Langton and Hybridian wool. This is a British breed company or a British brand with that's made with British sheep, and it is this beautiful heathered chocolate dark brown with a lighter, almost milky chocolate brown. So I thought that making another Paul sweater in this would be really nice. If anything, it's probably going to be a little bit smaller than my other one, which I'm totally fine with. And I am a big fan of Marika Knit. Her attention to detail and her garments are just so well designed. And so I'm looking forward to making another Paul sweater. And hopefully this will be another staple favorite sweater of mine. I am also on the lookout for a cabled sweater that I can wear for fall and, the beginning of winter. So I do have the Baguette sweater in my roster. And I do have this Tuku wool, this DK Tuku wool. This is in the color Nila. I used this as a contrast color in my Bluebird sweater, and I had a skein left over, and so I went ahead and bought a couple of other skeins in order, with the intention to make another sweater or shawl with them. So I am very excited to cast on the Baguette sweater. I've had that in my library for quite a while and just haven't had the time or really the I just never got to cast it on. So I'm really excited to cast it on. I am planning on doing some modifications. I don't want it to be a completely cabled, all over cable sweater. I'm thinking about sticking to the front motif and making the rest of the sweater, so the back of the sweater and the sleeves in the moss stitch that is a part of the cabled motif of the sweater. I just feel like, and this is personal, I feel like cabled sweaters that I've made before, if they're all over cabled sweater, they tend to collapse. It tends to collapse on itself a lot, and it doesn't sit as nice, and it tends to like kind of warp on the body. So I think sticking to a cabled motif on the front of the sweater and maybe minimally on the arms might make it have more of a better form for me. I am still wanting to cast on for the Cumulus blouse by Petite Knit in this 100% silk yarn from Pearl Soho. It's their base called Cattail Silk, and this is in the color Kingfisher Blue, I believe. And so I was planning on casting this a while ago, but I ended up focusing on my Anais top, which I am almost done with, which is really exciting. But yeah, I had brought this along with me on a Breckenridge trip, and I just ended up focusing on the Anais tee. That's going to be on my next video on the process of me making the Anais tee and kind of my hyper focus on it. So I have some vlog footage of me knitting on the Anais top there in Breckenridge in some really beautiful places. And although I brought this along, I just didn't get a chance to cast it on, but I am still wanting to make it for the fall season because yeah, you know, fall starts to get chilly, but there's still definitely room to wear tees or long sleeve tees out and about. And of course, I can always just throw a sweater or a jacket over it if it's chilly. A very special addition to my stash is this Cardigan Cashmere Classic. Oh my goodness. This is in the color 643. This is a very deep chocolatey brown color. It is absolutely gorgeous, and I completely understand the hype of this yarn. I don't even know how I stumbled on it, but there was a website that was selling this for a really good price point, and so I jumped on the opportunity and I bought some. I am planning on making a Maggie cardigan by Petite Knit in this yarn. I think I have enough to make it long sleeved. If anything, I want it at least quarter length. I don't particularly want it quite as short as the Petite Knit version, but yeah, I am thinking that making a cardigan, something that I can wear with something underneath, or honestly with nothing underneath, because it looks kind of more like a top since the sleeve is shorter. Beautiful garment, and I think that would just be great for the fall. Finally, I have one more plan that I think I can fit in. I'm most likely gonna make only 3 out of the 5 of these knitting plans because the seasons just go by so quickly, as I'm sure you all know. And this sweater I think would be great to kind of transition towards the winter. So maybe this is something I can cast on more towards the end of November. But it is the Aken sweater by the Knit Pearl Girl. And I have this absolutely gorgeous yarn from Lore, which is from the brand The Fiber Co. And this is 100% Kent lamb's wool. It's sourced and produced in England. Beautiful yarn. And this is in the colorway Courage. It is just this really stunning, very dimensional rust orange brown, and I think it would just be lovely in a plain stockinette sweater. And this sweater has a very nice turtleneck, which I think would just be so nice to snuggle up in. And I've always really appreciated the Knit Pearl Girls like sweater construction and their shape, so I'm looking forward to making this if I get around to it. Of course, all of these plans could change. I could totally swap out some of this yarn for other yarn or patterns for other patterns. These are just some plans and some things that have been recently inspiring me when it comes to the cooling of this weather and the fall feels that's coming. I am so excited for it. I'm gonna consume all of the fall flavors, all the pumpkin, all the apple. I am just so excited for the leaves to change, and yeah, just super looking forward to it. For my spinning, I really want to work on the raw alpaca wool that I got about a month ago at an alpaca farm here in Colorado. Me and my family went to go visit it. I do have a video, I'll pop it up here if you want to check that out, but we went and visited it, and there was one alpaca named Hercules that had the blackest fleece I had ever seen. It was just so gorgeous, and they had recently been shorn, and the owner, I believe her name was Karen, as she was kind of taking us through the tour, she mentioned that she had some of Hercules's fleece. And so of course I immediately asked, how much it was for the weight, for depending on how much it was per weight of the fleece. And my mom very generously bought me a ½ pound of his fleece. And so this would be the first time that I would be processing a fleece from raw material, which means I would have to wash and scour the fleece, dry it, and then comb it into most likely Rolags in order for me to spin it. So I'm wanting to wash and dry and card the fleece before winter comes. So that's gonna be a plan of mine for fall. Just make sure that I get that processed and ready to spin, and I can spin it at a later time, but at least it's prepared and ready to go when I am ready for it. Other than that, my spinning plans are pretty spontaneous. I don't have a very large spinning stash, and so as I'm spinning, I'm not really thinking about what's gonna happen next. I just kind of go to the stash and pick something to spin up. But this is going to be something that I'm planning on spinning, or at least that's gonna be my spinning plan for autumn. So that's what I have for you guys today. Just a little chatty video about my autumn plans. I am sure you're as excited as I am. I'm hoping that all of you are enjoying all of the PSL lattes, that you are preparing for some cooler days and getting ready for some candles and hot cocoa, hot cider. I am just so looking forward to this season. I honestly even love the days getting shorter. I feel like I have more creative energy as the sun goes down earlier, because you kind of want to get shut in and you just want to be with your crafts and with your loved ones and just watch movies and hang out on the couch as the winter solstice approaches. So I hope you're all doing well, and I can't wait to catch up with you guys on my next video and make sure to get some crafting done.